Alright, we're live.
This one, if you want to keep for rotation.
Unless you want to take this one. You like the I think, what are you singing?
I don't know. I'll see.
Come on.
I don't have that many options.
I know.
Over the break. I end school December 11th.
Yeah?
Like 2-3 more weeks.
It's Bulls game's $100.
What, Bulls and Knicks? When?
December 11th.
No, I can't go that day. Cousin, we have school.
December 11th? It's Wednesday. You say you get done.
No, I am around there, December 13th or something, 14th, something like that. Yeah, but that's it's finals week. Yo, Bulls, man. Oh, I really make sense that.
Dude, come on.
Where's
Other groups?
You kids are gonna get busted.
Actually gave up on playing it out and I was going to free light text measurements, but then not Too late?
It's like this. It's down.
Yo, shall we start?
When the person is dead, what do you say?
સજાનંદ મહારાજની જય મહાબળવંત માયા તમારી જેણે આવરિયા નર નારી એવું વરદાન દીજીએ આવે એ Hey
સ્વામિનારાયણ નામ લેશે તેના બધા પાતક પાડી દેશે. જે નામ મારા સુધીમાં અનેક સર્વોપરી આ જગણાય એક. જો સ્વામિનારાયણ એક વાર રહે બીજા નામ રહ્યા હજાર. જગ્યા થકી જે પણ થાય એનું કરી શકે વર્ણન કોણ તેનું. સરળ શરીર માત્રમાં સમર્થ જેથી થશે સિદ્ધ સમસ્ત અર્થ. સુખી કરે સંકટ સર્વ કાપે અંતે વળી અક્ષરધામ આપે. ગાયત્રી વિલાસ ગુણો વિશેષ જાણે જ જેનો મહિમા મહેશ. જ્યાં જ્યાં મહામોક્ષ જન્મો વસાય આ કાળમાં તો જપે જ થાય. જો અંધકાળે શ્રવણે સુનાય પાપી ગણો તે પણ મોક્ષ જાય. તે માત્રથી ભૂત પિશાચ ભાગે તે માત્રથી તો સદભૂત જાણે. તે માત્ર જેના મુખથી જપાય તેનાથી તો જમનાશી જાય. શ્રી સ્વામિનારાયણ જે કહે છે ભાવે ઉભાવે પણ મુક્તિ દેશે. સરળ અક્ષરો છે સટશાસ્ત્ર સાર તે તો તારે ભવસિંધુ પાર. છએ ઋતુમાં દિવસે નિશાળે સર્વ ક્રિયામાં સમરોષ થાય. પવિત્ર દેહે અપવિત્ર દેહે તેના નિત્ય સમરૂજ સ્નેહ. જડે કરીને તન મેલ જાય આ નામથી અંતર શુદ્ધ થાય. જેને મહાપાપ કર્યા અનંત જેને પીડ્યા બ્રાહ્મણ તેનું સંત. તે સ્વામિનારાયણ નામ લેતા લાજી મરે છે મુખથી કહેતા. શ્રી સ્વામિનારાયણ નામ સાર છે પાવને તે પ્રજગાવનાર. પાપી ઘણું અંતર હોય જેનું પડ્યા વિના કેમ રહે છે તેનું. પડ્યા વિના કેમ રહે છે તેનું. સજાન સ્વામી મહારાજની નમન હું કરું વિશ્વ પાળને. કરગરી કહું ભક્તિ પાળને. અરજ મારી ફૂલમાં ધરો વિપતમાં હરી શ્રી હરિ કરો. અવર આશરો મારે નથી सजानंद स्वामी महाराज ओराया वो मारा ले रखड़ा ले 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 ईदो तमसारो में जग मेरी ईदो तमसारो में जग मेरी ओराया वो मारा ले रखड़ा ले ओराया वो मारा ले रखड़ा ले काजू नौ तम जामा जर कसिया काजू नौ तम जामा जर कसिया शोभे पागलड़ी शिर सोनेरी शोभे पागलड़ी शिर सोनेरी ओराया वो मारा ले रखड़ा ले ओराया वो मारा ले रखड़ा ले नक जड़ी बाजू में रखड़ा नक जड़ी बाजू में रखड़ा पोची है मकड़ा मेरी कर पोची है मकड़ा मेरी ओराया वो मारा ले रखड़ा ले ओराया वो मारा ले रखड़ा ले तमे रसिया रंगड़ा ना भरिया तमे रसिया रंगड़ा ना भरिया मुख मोरलड़ी वाला मेरी मुख मोरलड़ी वाला मेरी ओराया वो मारा ले रखड़ा ले ओराया वो मारा ले रखड़ा ले ब्रह्मानंद नाचेला चोगाड़ा ब्रह्मानंद नाचेला चोगाड़ा चालो चाल मलपता गज केरी चालो चाल मलपता गज केरी ओराया वो मारा ले रखड़ा ले ओराया वो मारा ले रखड़ा ले ओराया वो मारा ले रखड़ा ले ओराया वो मारा ले रखड़ा ले
I totally screwed that up. It's allowed in private.
I think it's low.
Sync not low.
No, I don't want to sing, but it's definitely low.
Krishna, can I sing one before you start? Can I sing one before you start?
What?
He wants to do it, but
Yeah,
No, you can't. Let me try one before.
wait, really? Okay, go.
सजानंद स्वामी महाराज राज मारे मंदिर ये तमे रहो रहो 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 मोहन मारे मंदिर ये तमे रहो दरस परस मेरे दान करीने 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 दुर्मति दूधा दुर्मति दूधा रहो रहो राज मारे मंदिर रहे रहो हे राज मारे मंदिर रहे रहो राज मारे मंदिर रहे रहो काले कुंवर यति भेद करीने 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 गुड़िया माया लड़ी रहो रहो राज मारे मंदिर रहे रहो रहो राज मारे मंदिर रहे रहो हे राज मारे मंदिर रहे रहो रहो राज मारे मंदिर रहे रहो जगन जीवन तमने पोता न जानी 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 पोता न जानी वाला पोता न जानी पोता न जानी वाला पोता न जानी जगन जीवन तमने पोता न जानी जगन जीवन तमने पोता न जानी कहबो होइते कहो कहो राज मारे मंदिर रहे रहो हे राज मारे मंदिर रहे रहो रहो राज मारे मंदिर रहे रहो ब्रह्मानंद नाथ रंगीला ब्रह्मानंद नाथ रंगीला ब्रह्मानंद नाथ रंगीला ब्रह्मानंद नाथ रंगीला अब गुड़िया मारा सहो सहो राज मारे मंदिर रहे रहो रहो राज मारे मंदिर रहे रहो हे राज मारे मंदिर रहे रहो रहो राज मारे मंदिर रहे रहो
Satsang is on my Narayana Sukhakari Bhajile
नारायण सुखकारी भजीले
Narayana Sukhakari Bhajile
नारायण सुखकारी भजीले
Narayana Sukhakari Bhajile Narayana Sukhakari
મારે લગની લાગી છે ઘનશ્યામની જુઓ
મારે લગની લાગી છે ઘનશ્યામની જીવો નહીં રે ડરું લોક લાજથી રે
મારે લગની લાગી છે ઘનશ્યામની જુઓ
મારે લગની લાગી છે ઘનશ્યામની જીવો નહીં રે ડરું લોક લાજથી રે મારે રટના લાગી છે એના નામની જીવો નિર્ભય થઈ છું તો આજથી રે હે મારા પ્રાણ જીવન ઘનશ્યામ છે હે મારે લાગી છે ઘનશ્યામની જીવો નહીં રે ડરું લોક લાજથી રે હે મારે લગની લાગી છે ઘનશ્યામની જીવો નહીં રે ડરું લોક લાજથી રે મારે મારે એક આશ છે ઘનશ્યામની હે મારે લગની લાગી છે ઘનશ્યામની જીવો નહીં રે ડરું લોક લાજથી રે લગની લાગી છે ઘનશ્યામની જીવો નહીં રે ડરું લોક લાજથી રે મારે મારે સર્વસ્વ શ્રી ઘનશ્યામ છે હે મારે લગની
That was pretty
Five.
You just saw
This whole time was him. This time was all him.
Traitor.
No, he looked at me.
Traitor. Five.
Satsang Swami Maharaj needed. Doing Gayatri 9. In the somewhat year 1877, on the Kartik Sud 5th, Swami Sri Sajananda Maharaj was seated on a decorated bedstead on Vardhani outside the north-facing room of Vasta Kacha Darbar in Kalyani. He was dressed entirely in white clothes. A sabha of munis as well as Hari Bhaktos from various places had gathered before him. Then Sriji Maharaj asked a question to Nityananda Swami, and Brahmananda Swami said, Brahmananda Swami, suppose there is someone who is so unkind and stubborn that once he develops a grudge for someone, he never abandons that grudge. So, did you guys get the question?
No.
No? Alright, I'll say it again. Suppose there is someone who is unkind and stubborn that once he develops a grudge for someone, he never abandons that grudge. So, we all know somebody who had a grudge against somebody. Who had a grudge that was so stubborn that never let go of that grudge.
I have an example.
Fire.
In the summer, we were all making a hindoro, and Bharat and I got into a fight, and he hasn't talked to me since.
Oh
That's
my.
not a grudge.
It is,
I let it go.
Let it go. You don't even have to put on the spot.
We got a real
You gotta
life
tell
example
me.
right here.
This is not about me.
Hey, give me hope that I give
Guys,
Five
she killed
minutes.
the whole,
Have to give, right?
she killed the whole show, man.
That's a girl.
She killed the whole show.
Anyways, the grudge that I'm talking about, we all know it. Let's say, for example, the Knicks and the Bulls, we have a rivalry. The Lakers and Celtics have a rivalry. But when you have that rivalry and you take it, you have it on the court, then it's fine. But once you go intentional fouls, you go overboard, then you know that this person has more of a grudge, or if you're not as sportsmanlike, and if you take it out of that context, if you take it out of that court, and you say, and you do things outside, that's being even more unkind and stubborn. That's what Maharaj says. Suppose there's someone who is unkind and stubborn to hold a grudge so strong. I don't consider myself part of that, so because I'm not. So then Maharaj goes on saying, instead he continues to be stubborn like a buffalo. Such a person be called a sadhu or not? Well, can such a person be called a sadhu or not? So this is pretty self-explanatory because we both know that you can't be a saint and be having grudges and having anger in yourself. And then Maharaj goes on, and then Muktananda Swami asks the question, Maharaj, there may be a Bhagwan who perceives agun, like flaws, in some other bugs, and due to that, he develops hatred for the bug. How can he eradicate the perception of agun? Can you pass the mic around?
Can you repeat it?
Yeah. Muktananda Swami asked, Maharaj, There may be a Bhagwan who perceives Agun in some other Bhakt, and due to that he develops hatred for the Bhakt. How can he eradicate the perception of that Agun? Jay does not get it. Not yet.
Come back to me. Say the question one more time.
There may be a Bhagwan who perceives Agun in some other Bhakt, and due to that he develops hatred for that Bhakt. How can he eradicate the perception of Agun?
We said before that when you see bad things in someone, that's because you have those qualities yourself. So I think the first thing to do is look inside yourself and try to eradicate them within you.
Yeah. Anybody else?
Would he be considered a devotee of God in the first place? Because
That's a good question because Maharaj explains it afterward on his
right.
answer.
Because what I'm trying to say is if a devotee who considers himself a devotee of God, if he has hatred towards another one of himself, pretty much, that's equal, then would that person have been a devotee in God in the first place? Because I think you could have anger towards a person, you could have all that, but I don't think if you're a devotee of God, you can't. I don't think it makes sense to have hatred towards someone else who's also a devotee of God, because then it's kind of like, in a sense, it's kind of like saying the same, in a way of saying you have a hatred towards yourself. I mean, it's like the same people. If you think about it, if you're a devotee of God, you fall under the same tree. So I think if you have that hatred, then you probably aren't even a devotee of God in the first place.
Alright, yeah, I'm gonna answer that question, but go on.
My counter argument is who are we to judge? Who are we to judge who the devotee of God is, right? Because in that case, you're assuming that the other person or the person holding the grudge is not a devotee, but we as the layman cannot judge.
But we don't need to judge. I'm just saying in general. I'm not saying if someone hates you, you have to think, oh, this person, whatever. But I'm saying the person that does the hating, he might not have that full understanding yet. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm not saying that's for you to judge, or it's not for anybody to judge. But I'm saying
he's talking about himself. He's like ourselves.
right. Like if then you yourself probably don't have that full understanding of where you are, who the person is that you're doing that to. You know what I mean? Like for example, for like a close family member, you can't really hate the person. You have that like relationship. You might be angry at the person and those kind of things, but you never develop that like hatred towards the way it's described in here. Or you just don't develop that. So that's what I'm saying. And if you did, then you probably wouldn't have had that like connection towards that person. So that's what I'm trying to say in this situation. And if you did, then that person probably didn't have that understanding in the first place of who God is or who his bhakts are. Because if I think he said not to do anything bad to his devotees. So it's kind of like the same thing.
Yeah. So I thought you were putting the other person on the spot, but as long as we're putting ourselves on the spot.
What's all? Alright, we'll move on. Then Maharaj replies, a person who has bhakti of Bhagwan in his heart and realizes the greatness of Bhagwan would never perceive Bhagwan in the bhakt of Bhagwan. So basically what you said. Alright.
Yeah.
And he would never develop an unkind stubbornness toward a bhakt of Bhagwan. You got this part of that? Yeah. Then Maharaj gives an example of Udevji. Well, Udevji was a bhakt of Krishna Bhagwan, and Krishna Bhagavan sent Udevji to Vrindavan, place, and Krishna Bhagavan didn't go there at all. For some particular reason, he didn't go there, and he told Udevji, you know, you have to go there and do satsang and to them because they're really what do you call? They're really praying and crying for me to be there. So if you go there and do bhakti with them and make them realize that, oh, Maharaj is always with you through satsang. So Udevji goes to Vrindavan and he sees people transfixed and into Bhagwan and everything they're doing. Basically, they're more of a devotee than Udevji, and Udevji realizes that this journey that he went to Vrindavan was not because he had to help those people that and Vrindavan, but he had to help himself, because those people had the true love for God. Those people knew the true greatness of God, and Udevji realized that, oh, this journey was for me. This was not for them or for their bhakti, because they were really like everything they did. They had the whole town. Everybody was Lord Krishna Bhagavan's followers and devotees, and they were really good. So in this circumstance, if it was one of us, we would have been like, you know, God just sent me on to an empty mission to do nothing, because these guys are more followers and just like me. Like that's what I would have perceived, you know, that, you know, this journey that I took was for no reason. These people are really in love with God. They know the greatness of God, but Udevji was smarter than that. He realized that this journey was for my benefit, because, you know, most people think, oh, I'm with Swami or I'm with God, so, you know, I'm already on the higher level. I'm below everybody else, on the people that do or come to do darshan, you know. So this Udevji, he realized that even though I'm with Lord Krishna Bhagavan, I don't have that higher level like these people in Vrindavan have. They really know the greatness of Maharaj. And so Vrindavan, when he went back, he told Lord Krishna Bhagavan that, oh, this journey you sent me to was the most helpful thing you ever done for me, because I realized the greatness of you, and it helped him. It pleased Maharaj and him at the same time, because just because you're with somebody doesn't mean greatness. Like if you work for a royal person doesn't mean you're gonna be royalty. Just because you're higher, it won't make you mean you're a higher class. It just means that you're just working with somebody. So you know, Udevji realized that, and Lord Krishna Bhagavan, that was his ultimate plan also. That's what his end goal was. And then Maharaj goes on saying, also, Sri Krishna Bhagavan told Baldevji that trees, birds, and deers in Vrindavan are extremely fortunate. So Vrindavan is a place that is so it's so full of God. It's like Garba for us, basically. But that everything there is so good. Like even the deers there, the animals, plants, flowers are lucky to be there. They're fortunate. That's what Lord Krishna Bhagavan just said to Balaji, that if you get born into a flower in Vrindavan, you'll be fortunate. You'll be one of the luckiest person alive, because that place will change you. Just like it changed Udevji, because that place is like holy, it's sacred ground. It's so much love and devotion for God there that people wish they could be there. That's what Baldevji said, that he would be fortunate if he was born as a tree, bird, or a deer. To just prove his point that, you know, that being there is just so, is in his next lifetime, even if he dies, he'd rather be dirt in Vrindavan than anything else, because that's how important it was. Then even Brahma asked for Vardhan from Sri Krishna Bhagavan O Bhagwan, may I be so highly blessed to be able to serve your holy feet as your das, either in this life or in the life of an animal or a bird. He's saying, Brahmas, they're creator of the universes, and they're telling Lord Krishna, Bhagavan, saying that, oh, let me be your devotee in this life or the next, as even as a bird or an animal, and that means they want to be a devotee of a devotee. That's how big Bhagavan they're prescribed to be. So you guys following this one? Yeah? I'm confused. Therefore, a person who understands the greatness of Bhakt, of a Bhagavan, in this way will never develop a grudge due to a person's agni. So, if you truly know the God's greatness, then you will never hold a grudge or get see an agni in a fellow Bhakt. Moreover, a person who understands such greatness never takes into account even minor agons that are present in a Bhakt, that Prashada Sarup, Bhakta Prashada Sarup, his own Ishtadev. In fact, a person who realizes the greatness of Bhagwan looks upon even animals, trees, and scrubs which have come into contact with Bhagwan as equivalent to Divyas. So he's saying that basically a person of a Bhagwan realizes that even animals, trees, birds, deers, anything that he sees are equivalent to Divyas, as in souls, like gods, basically. If that is so, what can be said of those people who are engaged in the bhakti of Bhagwan, abiding by the Ratman and chanting the name of Bhagwan? He would certainly look upon himself equivalent to Divyas and would not think unkindly of them. So, I'm going to read this part over again because I got confused. If that is so, what can be said of those people who are engaged in bhakti of Bhagwan, abiding by the Ratman and chanting their names of Bhagwan? He would certainly look upon them equivalent to Divyas and would not think unkindly of them. Right, so he's just saying that people who chant the name of Bhagwan and abiding by the Ratman will never get the unkindly or stubbornness from that. So he won't be he won't look at the Avyagun on another bug ever, because he won't get that. Like it's in you, that something that will not come up. The unkindliness. Therefore, a person who understands the greatness of Bhagwan does not develop hatred. So you don't, basically, towards the Bhakta Bhagwan. On the other hand, a person who does not understand such greatness does not develop hatred toward them. Therefore, a person who does not realize the greatness of Bhagwan and his Bhakta should be known as being half fallen. So, those people who come to Satsang, they do their pujas, they do everything, but if you look at a Bhakta and judge them, they're so-called bhaktas, the ones that, come do everything, but you can follow Shiksha Padri, you can do the Vashamud, you can read it, but if you judge and hold grudges against somebody, you're not a true follower, you're not a satsangi at all. That's what he's saying. You're not one of them, you're not one of us. You can come here and do everything, you're so-called satsangis. You're the fake. Even if he's a satsangi. Only a person who understands the greatness of Bhagwan and the bhaktas of Bhagwan should be known to be a perfect satsangi.
That's it? Huh?
Alright, it's two things here. First time I'm gonna go on a bhakta.
Yeah.
He said that bhakta is supposed to be kind to the animals and so on and so on, right? And that's the primary quality, it comes from the Lord Swaminarayan, right? He was kind and we're supposed to be same way.
Yeah.
I just, to illustrate that point, I'm going to give you one example. There was one of the saint in South India, his name was Tukaram. And one time he was cooking chapati. And all of a sudden, he cooked a couple of chapatis and he piled up. And there is a dog walk by. And so all these chapati.
Yeah.
So what he did is just run and grab the chapati and ran. So Saint Tukaram ran behind him. He took the utensil of the ghee and just running behind him. He said, stop, stop, don't go, wait. I have something more for you. Because those raw chapati without ghee gonna hurt you, hurt your stomach. Don't eat. And all these people standing by, they were like, this guy is crazy. Because he's running behind the dog and he's telling to stop. Because he didn't put the ghee on chapati, right?
Yeah.
So finally the dog ran out. He came back, he was coming back, so somebody stopped him and asked him, why would you do that? Why would you run behind the dog? You know that you can't eat those chapati anymore. He says, yeah, I cannot eat that. But I want to make sure that the dog eats chapati with the ghee. And then everybody says, why would you do that? He says, well, you remember the same God in me has a God in him. And if he eats that, he's gonna have a stomach ache. And I really feel sorry. Now that's first character, the Bhakta should have. Right?
Yeah.
Because without that, if you don't do that, it doesn't mean anything after that. Because you are the same like everybody else outside there. Second thing, what the place of the Bhakta in the Lord Swaminarayan's heart? I give you another example. One time Lord Krishna got sick. He had a blister all over his body. So he was like on the bed. All his Aspatranis comes in and says, what can we do to make you healthy and happy? And he says, you can't do anything. And everybody says, well, you are a God. You know the way how to be healthy, And he says, no, I don't know. And then finally the Naradji comes and he says, my Lord, what are you doing now? This can be treatable. You can do just in a second. He says, I can't do it. He says, but there has to be a way, right? He says, yeah, there is a way. He says, what's the way? Show me. I can get it for you, whatever you need. He says, I need the charan rus from the one of the bhakta who devoted to me. And then Naradji think for twice. He was a devoted, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Okay, he thought twice. Then he asked all his Astpatranis, Krishna's Astpatranis like Satyabhama and all those. He says, you are devoted to Krishna, give me the charan. And they said, well, I don't think we can do that. So now, Naradji thinking is like in a la-la land, it's a twilight zone. He doesn't know what to do anymore. So he goes to the Krishna and he says, can you show me who is your devotee? And Krishna says, go to Vrindavan. So the Naradji went to Vrindavan. And the first gopi walking in, he saw and he says, she greeted him and, Jai Narayan and everything. And then finally said, why are you here? He said, well, the Krishna is a Sikh. He says, what do you mean Krishna is a Sikh? He says, well, he is a Sikh. But can't you find someone to treat him if he's sick? He says, yeah, I can find it, but he has a condition. He says, what's the condition? He says, you have to get the charan raj from my devotee. Then I'll be happy, I'll get healed from that. He says, why you came all the way down here? Why didn't you do it yourself? You are devoted. And he says, well, this and that, right? So she says, okay, you have anything? Spread your cloth. And she just basically walked barefoot and just all this, earth he collected.
Yeah.
And then he was walking out and then striking his mind. He says, let me ask this gopi a question. So he goes back and says, can you hold on for a second? I want to ask you something. And she goes, okay, ask me. What do you want to ask? He says, wouldn't you think twice before you do this? He says, why? Then he says, but like when you give this charan raj to God, you're going to go to Nark. You're going to go to hell because you're doing something wrong. She says, listen, if I go to hell, that's fine with me. But as long as my Lord is healthy and healthy and happy, that's all I want. For me, I don't worry about anything. And that's what the place Lord Swaminarayan has in his heart for all his devotees. Because for God, his devotee is everything. He has nothing else besides him. Right? So when you have between two devotees there is a problem, one doesn't understand, one is a real devotee, then you have a real problem, right? And I think this Vachanamrut basically is written on based on that, to just say, don't divide. Because to me, is everybody, I love them. It's my devotee, right? So I think basically he just only message he's sending out. I think one place in Vachanamrut he said, if you put the stick in a water divides, but how long? Couple of seconds, comes back again, right? My devotee should be behaving that way. Never hold the grudge between, to each other. And that's what it is.
I think you and Krishna should, forgive each other.
That poor girl. She's crying now.
Not crying.
Put the camera on her. Such a sad face. Yes. Come on.
What do you say that the same time?
No.
Forget it.
Let's do public.
It's what? That's how you get rid of your ego.
But I am.
Do it. You're there, almost there. Swallow it.
He said men don't apologize.
That's a sign of weakness.
Say Krishna. Devotee.
Play from the bottom of your heart. Go.
Pass the mic around.
Swallow that ego.
It's not an ego.
That's what it is. That's the only thing that comes in our way.
Sorry.
Look at her and say, not us. Look at her and say,
Damn,
You guys
I
are
got,
brother and sister. Same thing.
Well, yeah, right.
No, you gotta
Father
correct
and
it.
Just not say like this, just Krishna.
You gotta fix it where it's broken. You gotta go somewhere else. It's like if your house is cracked and if you go and fix somebody else's house, that's not gonna fix your house. Same thing here.
maybe that person might come to fix
I think
yours.
it's more than saying putting in a practice.
I fixed it.
Alright. Yo, Calpy, man, you got something to say?
Doctor, anything?
You're mine.
Okay.
There's nothing for
Yo, doctor.
you said it all, but all you have to do is just put it in practice, which is
I think
what I think
just
everyone's asking you to do. Just do it. It's all you do. Come on. You're bigger and better than that.
I think this also applies to everybody, not just buffaloes. I think, like he gave an example of like the dog, it could be anybody. It's not just, it's a matter of your character and your personality and improving it. It could be anybody, it's not just restricted to buffaloes. That's the worst. That's on the worst side of the scale, but we should strive really to, get rid of getting angry or holding grudges towards anybody in general or anything.
No, I remember your Gata the other time when you said with a lady, and Maharaj said she can't come here or something happened, and Maharaj said she's a butt of me, and if you don't come, then that's insulting me. And then Maharaj said, I won't come here again, and she said that's fine. So that person, yeah, you're not supposed to be like that person.
You rather give it up than hold it.
Yeah. For me, it's just too much work.
That's the best way.
So, getting back to the root, right? What is it that makes us hold a grudge against somebody? What do you think it is?
That's the question I was gonna ask.
You steal his question, man. So like, why did that?
Sorry. It's pride, Doug, it's pride. You have another answer?
Well, I mean, this issue was.
No, forget about your situation, in general. Why would someone...
You should just say in the beginning that maybe we see in ourselves a flaw, so we find it on others too, but we don't see ourselves, but we see it in others.
I think a finer point is missed in this somewhere.
You want to clarify?
Here, find it. Find the point.
You're on.
Huh?
Right, I think I...
You're on air.
I also have...
You're on air. Yeah.
It's off.
It's on. Don't worry.
All right. So, I got a silly question.
These guys.
I'm going to read a portion of it here first, Vaishnava. So in the middle of the Vaishnava it says, Sriji Maharaj said, he who has the devotion of God in his heart and who has realized the glory of God would never find fault with the devotee of God. And he would not be stubborn in his anger against the devotee of God. For example, Udevji had realized the glory of God, so the boon which he asked for was this. May I be one of the creepers, a blade of grass, or even a bunch of leaves in Vrindavan, which has the good fortune to receive the dust from the feet of the gopis. Sri Krishna Bhagavan gopis. Sri Bhagavan had declared before Baldevji that the trees, the birds, and the deer of Vrindavan are very fortunate. So, if you think about for that paragraph for a second, the question initially starts out trying to compare between two devotees, right? One devotee thinking bad or not so good in terms of fortune of another devotee, right? Basically taking out misfortunes of other satsangi or devotee. But then in the example, it doesn't mention anything about two devotees. If you read it carefully, right?
Wait, what?
In the example it says, Udevji had realized the glory of God, so the boon which he asked for was this. May I be one of the creepers, a blade of grass, or even a bunch of weeds in Vrindavan, which has the good fortune to receive the dust from the feet of the gopis. It doesn't talk about two bhaktas. It talks about himself. Why?
Wait.
After that, it did. No?
Hold on, just ask me your question. Don't bring it.
That's the question. So the question is, the original rationale which starts out talking about the action between two devotees, right? One finding misfortune in the other one, right? Or being angry and so forth. But in that example, it doesn't mention anything about two devotees. It's only single devotee, and on top of that, it's from that person's perspective, not from third person perspective.
Well, first of all, Udevji, when he went to Vrindavan, he found there was a second purpose there. So, that one, the purpose of this is to, if you know the greatness of God, then you won't find grudges against anybody. That's what Vrindavan, that's what Udevji found. Second, those people there, what do you call them?
Gopis.
They were, I don't know how to say it.
I don't even understand the question.
He's saying that the question asked, how can you, he's talking about two people.
No, I get that question. I don't get that question.
But if you don't understand Bhakta Mahatma, then this question arises. Otherwise, it would not arise. Right? That's the whole thing. And they trying to point out by just giving the Uddhavji's example that if you understand this way, then you would not hold the grudge against anybody, particularly devotee, because you know that how important they are. That's a relation goes back to the question.
I think it's more than that actually.
Maybe more than that, but that's...
It's changing the perspective of how you look at yourself. Right? When you understand the greatness of God, you don't look at comparing yourself to somebody else. You look at within inside of you what you are.
Yeah, that's right, because Udevji did the same thing.
And that's what I'm saying. I think that was the final point that was missed, is that if you're really devotee of God, you don't look outside of yourself.
Yeah, but this just said, it doesn't matter, even if you're the perfect person, but what if something happens, this person has grudges against me, but I don't even know it. It happens 2-3 times, and then I figure out, oh, this guy has something for me. He's got something, and I don't know why he's doing this, what he's doing it, because I don't know why, but he probably sees a flaw in himself that he sees in me, but you're not supposed to. But Udevji, that's the purpose of the whole thing.
But are you supposed to be concerned with that?
What Jitananda was saying was, the issue is with not understanding or seeing the Mahatma of a bhakt, the greatness of a bhakt. And I think if you look at the bigger picture, it's not just that, but it's understanding the greatness of God Himself, the Mahatma of God, right? He resides in every single thing, and we can't understand that. When you're angry at somebody, you're holding a grudge at somebody, you look at that person, oh, Bharat did this. But really, there's God that resides in Bharat, and we're not seeing that. So it's not just about the Mahatma of a bhakt, but the Mahatma of God Himself. I think if you realize that, then there's then you don't even have to worry about offending another person, because when you look at another person, you will remember that God resides in that person. So I know you said it was more of looking inward, and you were kind of saying not to be concerned with looking outward, but when you look outward, you should realize, you should really see what's out there.
What does you see?
Yeah, what Uddhavji sees. He said, I don't care. He said, make me, a flour or dirt, because that dirt has God in it, because God resides and fills everything. Every single item, animate, inanimate, it has God in it, and that's the greatness of God. So if you understand the greatness of God, you're gonna see that in His bhaktos. So it's you realize the Mahatma of God, you realize the Mahatma of bhaktos, and eventually not just bhaktos but everything. Like I said, inanimate objects, people outside of this room, non-Hari bhaktos, anybody, everybody. You look at great saints, you look at Swami. Every time he walks into a room, he looks at the corner. He's like, because he sees God in everything. He goes into the car, he does the same thing, same motion. If you look at him, and that's what it is. How could you possibly hold a grudge against him if you see God within him? That's like holding a grudge against God. Would you ever do that? So it's not just about looking inward, but it's how you view everybody around you and the external world also. It's difficult to do. It's not easy.
Right.
Very difficult to do. There's in Swami Vivekananda's book, he had like a quote. He's like I'm in my own world. I'm at peace. I see God in everything, and then someone bumps into me, and then my whole world comes upside down. I get filled with anger, and I'm upset. But in those 3 seconds that I'm upset, I try to, forget everything that just happened and try to remember, that God's in everything, including this person that bumped into me. It's like, it's very difficult to do, but I think that's what I'm getting out of this. That if you really understand the greatness of God, then you will understand the greatness of God's Hari Bhaktos. And if you understand those two things, then you will never speak ill of anyone who's a Bhakt or anyone in general. No matter how bad you perceive them or what you think they've done to you to offend you. That's what I got.
Did that answer your question?
Yeah. So just to add my 2 cents, I think even forget about the idea of that. To see God in every devotee. Let's just say you couldn't do that, or you had an issue of seeing God in every single devotee. I mean, this just goes back to just society, really. If you think about it, when you're in grade school, what the main things that you're taught is respect people's privacy and respect the person that's next to you and around you. It's just the same thing. It doesn't matter. I don't care if you're an adult. You respect the person that's younger than you, and it goes the other way around. So I just think that's the same thing. And also, I think I just don't want. In my opinion, I think the whole point is that it's not about getting. We're human beings at the end of the day, so you're gonna get angry and you're gonna get these things. You're gonna have these conflicts with other people. Ideas tend to clash, so you don't always see eye to eye. But the thing you have to understand is that it's not about, this person got angry at me. That's going to happen. You're not going to eliminate that. You're not going to eliminate you getting upset at somebody or, you getting angry at someone because you guys don't see eye to eye to something. But I think what you have to understand is that may be true. All those things that I just said may be true, but that's one thing to do. But another thing is when you hate that person, that hatred is what really causes all these things, and that's what you can't have. You can't possibly have hatred towards anybody. That's just the worst thing that you can possibly do. And it's not just to a devotee, like he said, it goes to everyone. You respect everybody, not just a devotee. And it's very hard to do, but that's what you have to keep in mind at the end of the day. For example, I was on the train and I just hear these 2 people talking, and one of the guys, he's saying how he's talking to another guy. He's saying, I used to work over here at some factory, and there was a lot of immigrants that work there. And he's like, I'm not an immigrant, so I actually have whatever. And he said that the boss over there, he actually got a kick out of, abusing his workers, verbally abusing them, making them feel bad. But he's like, I wasn't there to take that because, he's like, no matter who you are, if you have your green card or not, you have to respect every single person. and he said that I wasn't gonna take that, and I just told him how it was, that hey, you may be able to disrespect these people, but you can't do that to me. He's like, even if I did or didn't have my green card or whatever, and I wasn't legally able to work, you can't say these things to me, or you can't do this to me. That's the same thing, you have to treat everyone with respect. It doesn't matter if you're this person, gender, race, whatever. If you're older, if you're younger, I think that's what you have to understand. And this doesn't just go to kids, obviously, adults too, right? So you have to respect everybody. Oh man, there's a lot of food today. Can't be eating this much to God this late. I'm gonna get fat. સજાનંદ મહારાજની જય. જમો ને થાળ જીવન જાઓ વારી રે દો કર ચરણ કરો ચારી રે. જમો ને થાળ જીવન જાઓ વારી રે બેસો ને લવાજો થિયા ડાળી રે. કટોરા જડે બર જંબુ ચોખાડી
Bhagavad सचो सकळ विश्वतणा विधाता दाता तमे सकळ मंगल शांति दाता माटे तमारु करुणा निधि सत्य नाम साष्टांगनाथ तमने करू प्रणाम अज्ञान पास करुणा करि कापि नाको निश्चे प्रभु तव पदे मम वृत्ति राखो भक्तोनुपालन करो प्रभु सर्वयाम साष्टांगनाथ तमने करू प्रणाम। सजान स्वामी महाराज की जय।
Like the bees, the ones that come down. I don't like the, I don't know, I just like the wall button. No, no. I like the small ones that look up top. One time over the break, we got a recycle that. I'm just waiting for the break and then I'm gonna record the band break in order.
स्वामी महाराज पूरे प्रभु सकल के श्याम स्वामी नारायण दिव्य मूर्ति स्वामी नारायण दिव्य मूर्ति संतन के विश्राम हरे प्रभु संतन के भोले प्रभु सकल मुनि के श्याम अक्षर भयानंद घन प्रभु कियो हेतु परठाम जेहि मिलत जन तरत माया जेहि मिलत जन तरत माया लहत अक्षरधाम हरे प्रभु लहत अक्षरधाम भोले प्रभु सकल मुनि के श्याम शारद शेष महेश महामुनि जपत जय गुणनाम जास पद रज शीश धरि धरि जास पद रज शीश धरि धरि होवत जननिष्काम हरे प्रभु होवत जननिष्काम पोड़े प्रभु सकल मुनि के श्याम प्रेम के पर्यंक पर प्रभु करत सुख आराम मुक्तानंद निज चरण बिन गुण मुक्तानंद निज चरण बिन गुण गावत आठो जाम हरि गुण गावत आठो जाम पोड़े प्रभु सकल मुनि के श्याम स्वामी नारायण दिव्य मूर्ति स्वामी नारायण दिव्य मूर्ति संतन के विश्राम हरे प्रभु संतन के विश्राम भोले प्रभु सकल मुनि के श्याम सजानंद स्वामी महाराज श्री हरि कृष्ण महाराज श्री घनश्याम महाराज श्री स्वामीनारायण भगवान श्री नरनारायण देव श्री लक्ष्मी नारायण देव श्री राधा कृष्ण देव जय सियावर श्री रामचंद्र भगवान की